You know, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like when I talk to the average person about lines of credit or credit cards, they act like you can only get one or the other, but you can get both. And not only that, you can combine the best of both worlds because a line of credit and a credit card have their both have their pros and cons. And you can combine the pros when it comes to debt payoff, right? So what we're going to do is kind of compare a line of credit and a credit card. And even though a credit card is technically a form of a line of credit, it has a slightly different attributes. So that's why we put them in a different bucket. Um, so here's the pro of a line of credit is that it has cheaper interest rates, right? So not cheaper interest rates. And then usually it's about like 6 to 18, right? I have seen a 6 on like a home equity line of credit before, like that cheap. And usually at the higher side, this is if it's your really risky bet. I think by law for home equity line of credit that the maximum interest rate they can charge is 18%. And so the con of this is that no rewards points. Okay. And the other thing is that as soon as soon as you pull out money, you will be charged. Right. So that's kind of like the cons of the lines of credit. So if there's a reason why lines of credit have or don't have rewards points, and there's a feature with credit cards, which is a pro that I'm going to talk about, that even though lines of credit have cheaper interest rates, paying off statement balance equals no interest, right? So the way that I kind of think about this, right? So let's say you have like $2,000 of expenses. I would prefer to put those on a credit card because if I, let's say, put those expenses on a credit card, statement comes out, and I have 1 month to pay it, and then once I pay at the very last day or the due date in full, then they don't charge me interest. So the way that I think about it is essentially this is a 1 month interest-free loan, right? So I buy stuff, I get my statement balance, and then I pay that statement balance essentially like a month later after I bought it. And therefore, the way that credit cards work, I get no interest. And of course, we could also include the rewards points here, but not all credit cards includes rewards points, right? So I won't include it here, but this is like the main pro of a credit card. Now, what is the con of a credit card? Okay, so the first con is the high interest rates. So you'll see maybe like 11 to 30%. Okay. And what's another con of the credit card? Well, another card or sorry, another con is that is it inflexible, not flexible? It's not as flexible as a line of credit, right? So what do we mean by that? Well, if you need to pull out cash from a credit card, you need to do cash advances, and that's really expensive. Costs as much as $40, right? Usually, like a one-time fee, and then they charge like the highest interest rates. So that's one. And here we could put pro. One is cheaper interest rates. Use it to and another one is we can use it to pay anything, right? So if you have a loan, a credit card, heck, you can even use the line of credit to pay itself, right? Like if you have a $200 interest payment, that's the monthly bill, you could borrow from the line of credit and pay it. And that's what you might have to do if you're having cash flow issues, right? So we can use cheaper interest rates of the line of credit and use it to pay anything. And then here with a credit card, it's not flexible. We can't, so for example, we can't use a credit card to pay another credit card, right? And so what we want to do is we want the best of both worlds. So we want a 1 month interest-free loan because as soon as we pull out the money from a line of credit, we get charged. Like even if we use it for 1 day, we're going to get charged, right? There's no such thing as like a grace period of paying off a statement balance for a month, like in a credit card. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to use both a line of credit and a credit card during our debt payoff journey. and get the pros and get rid of the cons, right? And so let me just kind of go here and show you how this works. Oh, I think I hear a train. It's my Spidey sense. Ever since I got the Shure MV7 Plus microphone and put some earphones on it, I could hear things miles away. And I guess like that's how the government creates super soldiers. But anyways, let me just quickly go through the debt payoff. I'm actually getting sleepy, so I don't think I'm going to do the whole demonstration. But let me go ahead and do this, right? So when we do the debt payoff strategy, we have the same income and the same expenses, okay? And then this is what we're going to do. We're going to not save money. We're going to calculate our cash flow. Now, the main con of the credit cards are these high interest rates, right? So if we move the high interest rates into the line of credit, that's going to be $137,000, or in the credit card balance, $137,000. Okay. So we move this $137,000 into the line of credit. That's at 8%. So obviously we've gotten the pro of moving the high interest rate credit card debt into a lower interest rate line of credit. All right. And then so this becomes 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So now that we've essentially transferred that credit card debt, does that mean that we get rid of our credit cards? The answer to that is we don't have to. Let's get the best of both worlds. And here's the thing about having credit cards open and you not using them. Usually the bank or whoever will close them down, right? They want to see activity, okay? Because think about it, even if you never pay any interest, they charge merchants or vendors who use the credit card, they call it like a merchant gateway fee or something like that, right? Like you may not pay, but the vendor will pay. The person selling you stuff through a credit card pays, right? And usually if they're a small business, they always try to pass on the cost to you, whereas like big businesses, they'll just eat up the cost, right? You don't get charged an extra fee like going to a supermarket and then yeah, like they don't do that when you use a credit card, right? And then so now here's the thing about credit cards. Well, we have these expenses that are not tied to debt that we still have to pay for. So what we're going to do is when we pay off debt, like we assume that, hey, it's all coming up from the line of credit. Now that's technically true, right? It is. But what we can do is that as we pay our expenses, we don't pay it directly with the line of credit, because when we pay it directly with the line of credit, we're going to accrue interest the moment we use that money, right? So why don't we, when we need to pay for these $2,700 of expenses, just spread them out throughout these credit cards? Maybe use one credit card 1 month and then another credit card another month for $2,700. Okay. I'm assuming these are expenses that you can pay for a credit card, right? So we're not talking about the auto loan, student loan, the mortgage. We need to use the line of credit for that because usually they don't accept cash. And so that's what we're going to do. We are going to move our credit card debt, yet still use our credit cards only up to this limit, $2,700 per month on average. Okay. So the process will still stay the same, although it might some of the balance might be delayed by a month or two because we got to pay the credit card off in full, but it's usually going to be 1 month later than expected because credit cards, what's the pro that a line of credit doesn't have? The pro is that paying off the statement balance equals no interest. And usually you can wait a month to do that. But with the line of credit, you can't do that because the con is as soon as you pull out money, you'll be charged, right? And that's the secret, folks. That's how we do it, by combining lines of credit and credit cards to pay off debt. And I'm not going to go through the whole spiel because I have like a gajillion videos on the subject and I'm actually quite sleepy. So I should upload this video and go to sleep soon. But anyways, all right. Well, yeah, let's just end the video here. What time is it right now? It is, oh, so we're at the 10-minute mark. But you want to know something? I watched the movie Mortal Kombat 2, and man, it was a terrible movie. Like, it's amazing, and let me just kind of rant here before I end the video, how the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie was so good, and almost no video game movie has been ever been able to replicate it. I think the only movie that really hits the quality mark that is almost as good is probably the Sonic movies, right? And the reason why Mortal Kombat 95 is so good is I'm going to tell you is that the characters have very human and relatable emotions, right? You think about Sonya, Liu Kang, and Johnny Cage. Like Liu Kang is afraid to meet his destiny and he wants revenge because, the bad guy killed his brother. And then it's the same thing with Sonya Blade because she wants to enter the tournament because Kano killed her partner, and she's, one of the things lessons that she has to learn is that, hey, maybe she should learn how to work with others, Lou and Johnny, right? And then Johnny Cage, he's afraid of being a fraud, which is, he wants to show that he's a real deal martial artist and not just a pretty boy movie star, right? Those are kind of very relatable character arcs that you don't really see in modern video game movies. I think modern video game movies, to be honest, or maybe this has always been true for the most of the video game movies out there, all they care about is just saying, "Hey, like remember this from the video game," with no coherence to the story, right? In fact, even games these days have like really good storytelling mechanisms that the movie version of the game lacks. It's really ironic. All right. Okay, well, that's it for today, folks. Green Lantern Mentorship. I'm so sleepy. I'm so sleepy. All right, have a great night, and I'll see you in the next one.